Warriors fans are living through one of the most intriguing off-seasons in recent memory, and the conversation took another twist when Josh Giddey decided to lock in his future with the Chicago Bulls. The deal is massive, $100 million spread across 4 years, and while it was not the splash many Golden State followers hoped to see in the Bay, it still sets the tone for what could come next. There was a real desire to picture Giddey in blue and gold, orchestrating the offense after the Steph Curry era, but for now that dream will have to wait. The length of the contract is interesting because a player with his vision and all-around impact usually commands 5 years. The Bulls went with 4, and that opens up the possibility of Golden State making a push when Giddey hits his late 20s, right as he enters his prime. That silver lining gives Warriors fans something to file away for the future, because if the rebuild lines up correctly, Giddey could eventually be a key piece in San Francisco. For Chicago, the story is straightforward. They have their cornerstone locked down, and now the challenge becomes filling in the rest of the roster. That is where Golden State could sneak in and take advantage. The Bulls are holding plenty of expiring contracts, and the Warriors front office has never been shy about sniffing around for value. Nikola Vucevic remains a name that keeps popping up. A skilled big who can stretch the floor and rebound would slide perfectly into the Warriors' motion system. And if the price is right, he could give them a presence inside that they have lacked since the days of Andrew Bogut and prime Draymond Green. Beyond Vucevic, there are other intriguing names. Kevin Huerter would be a seamless fit in Steve Kerr's offense with his ability to shoot from deep and move without the ball. Even someone like Kobe White, despite concerns about his size and his defense, could serve as a microwave scorer off the bench, a role the Warriors have always valued. He might not be the ideal long-term piece, but in the right role, his scoring punch could be meaningful. While all of that is being monitored, the bigger story in the Bay right now is Jonathan Kuminga. His restricted free agency has stretched out all summer and is reaching a boiling point. The Warriors made offers, first a 2-year deal worth around $40 million, then a bump to $45 million, but the sticking point has been the team option. Kuminga has resisted, signaling that he would rather bet on himself with the qualifying offer than tie his future to a deal that does not give him enough security. That puts pressure on both sides because the clock is ticking. Training camp is only weeks away, and the Warriors cannot afford to sit idle while the rest of the league makes moves. Kuminga is such a fascinating case because he represents both promise and frustration. On one hand, he is a versatile forward capable of guarding multiple positions, slashing to the rim, and creating isolation looks when the offense stalls. In a league where everyone wants constant ball movement and three-point shooting, his ability to break down defenders one-on-one is a rare weapon. On the other hand, his lack of a reliable outside shot is a glaring weakness in today's NBA, and it complicates the Warriors' spacing. Comparing him to Giddey is revealing. Giddey is a tall playmaker with elite vision, capable of running an entire offense, while Kuminga is more of a scoring forward who still needs polish. That is not a knock on his talent, but it does explain why the front office is cautious with the numbers. One possible resolution would be stripping away that team option. If the Warriors truly want to keep Kuminga engaged and avoid souring the relationship, removing the option could close the deal. That would give him a 2-year runway to grow alongside Curry and the veterans, while also preserving flexibility for Golden State. If it does not work out, the Warriors could revisit the market at the trade deadline, when contenders desperate for athletic forwards would line up to make offers. Teams are always more willing to pay for a player they can control beyond a few months, so even without the option, the Warriors would still hold leverage. The trick is balancing Kuminga's desire for security with the organization's need for flexibility, and right now it feels like a staring contest that has dragged on too long. The timing could not be worse, because every day without resolution limits what else Golden State can do in free agency. One name that keeps circling is Malcolm Brogdon. The Warriors have had eyes on him all summer as a steady veteran guard who can handle the ball, shoot efficiently, and defend at a high level. But patience is not infinite, and Brogdon is already entertaining other suitors. The New York Knicks have been mentioned, although their guard rotation is crowded with Jalen Brunson, Deuce McBride, and a promising young talent in Tyler Kolek. The more realistic threat is Minnesota. The Timberwolves already proved themselves last postseason, steamrolling through matchups and showing they're a rising power in the Western Conference. Adding a veteran like Brogdon alongside Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, and Jaden McDaniels would only strengthen them. Even if Mike Conley continues to hold the starting job, a rotation of Conley and Brogdon would be dangerous. For Golden State, losing Brogdon to Minnesota would sting badly, because not only would they miss out on a key addition, they would watch a direct rival get stronger. That is why the Kuminga situation must be resolved quickly. Every roster spot matters. Every dollar of flexibility matters, and the Warriors cannot move on to the next steps until they know what is happening with their young forward. If he signs the deal without the option, the team can start filling out the bench with shooters and defenders to support Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. If he refuses, then the front office has to pivot to a trade, perhaps circling back to Phoenix. The Suns could cobble together contracts like Royce O'Neal, Nick Richards, and Ryan Dunn to make the numbers work, sweetening the package with draft capital. It is not the blockbuster return some fans might want, but it would provide depth and balance. What matters most is avoiding paralysis. Golden State cannot allow indecision to bleed into the season. The comparison with other young players is also instructive. Josh Giddey got his long-term extension because he impacts winning in multiple ways, filling the box score and running an offense. Cam Thomas, on the other hand, settled for his qualifying offer because his game has not translated into efficient winning basketball. He puts up points, but the rest of his stat line feels empty. Kuminga sits somewhere in between. He averaged around 16 points per game, added rebounds and assists, and showed flashes of being more than just a scorer. That is why this decision feels pivotal. He could become the bridge to the next era of Warriors basketball, or he could be the trade chip that helps maximize the last years of Curry's window. Either way, the standoff cannot last forever. The weight of this entire situation does not just rest on Jonathan Kuminga's shoulders. It ripples through the entire Warriors organization. Every move they want to make, every conversation with free agents, every potential trade partner, all of it pauses while his contract talks drag out. Golden State is not the type of franchise that thrives on hesitation. Over the past decade, their dominance was built on decisiveness, bold trades, timely signings, and a clear vision of how to build around Steph Curry's generational talent. Now, though, they risk slipping into a holding pattern, and that is dangerous when the Western Conference is stacked with hungry contenders. Time is ticking toward training camp, and the margin for error is thin. If the Warriors stumble out of the gate, it could snowball quickly, especially in a year when teams like Minnesota, Oklahoma City, and Denver are all pushing their chips to the center of the table. The potential arrival of Malcolm Brogdon still hangs over everything. He is the kind of guard who would instantly stabilize Golden State's second unit. His ability to control tempo, make smart reads, and knock down shots would allow Curry to rest without the offense collapsing. That has been a recurring problem for the Warriors. When Steph sits, the offense tends to stagnate, and turnovers climb. Brogdon could plug that hole, but only if the Warriors move aggressively. The longer they wait for Kuminga's situation to be resolved, the more likely it becomes that Brogdon slips away to a team that already knows where it stands. If he chooses Minnesota, the Warriors could be staring at a playoff matchup against a Timberwolves team that not only knocked them out last season, but also added another steady veteran guard to their arsenal. That is the nightmare scenario, and it is one Golden State has the power to prevent, but only by acting swiftly. Another wrinkle to all of this is the ongoing speculation about Seth Curry. The idea of Steph sharing the floor with his brother has been floating around for years, and while Seth is not an all-star caliber player, his shooting gravity is very real. He spaces the floor, plays within himself, and would bring a unique energy to the locker room. Fans love the thought of the Curry brothers lighting it up together, and it would certainly add another dimension to the Warriors' three-point attack. But for that to happen, roster space and financial flexibility need to be clear. That is why the Kuminga decision lingers over everything else. If the front office cannot finalize his deal, they cannot move forward with the smaller additions that round out a championship-caliber roster. What makes this so frustrating for Warriors supporters is the fact that Kuminga has already shown real flashes of brilliance. There were stretches last season when he looked unstoppable attacking the rim, using his athleticism to blow by defenders and finish with authority. Defensively, his versatility is something you cannot teach. He can guard wings, switch on to smaller guards, and even hold his own against bigger forwards. These are exactly the kind of skills that are invaluable in the modern NBA. The problem is consistency. One night, he looks like a future all-star. The next, he fades into the background. That inconsistency is part of why the front office is reluctant to hand him a huge long-term deal. But it is also why fans fear trading him too soon. If he blossoms into a star elsewhere, Golden State would regret letting him go just as much as they would regret overpaying him now. The broader league context makes the decision even trickier. The Western Conference is not forgiving. Denver is still powered by Nikola Jokic, who looks like he is in the middle of an all-time career arc. Oklahoma City is young, deep, and fearless, with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander emerging as one of the best guards in the league. Minnesota has the size and the athleticism to bully teams inside and the talent to run with anyone. Even Sacramento and Dallas have the firepower to knock off heavyweights. Against that backdrop, the Warriors cannot afford to take half measures. They either need to lean into maximizing Curry's remaining prime years with win-now veterans, or they need to embrace the idea of developing Kuminga and Moses Moody into the next foundation. Hovering in between is a recipe for disappointment. The irony is that Steph Curry himself is still playing at a level that demands respect. He might not be scoring 50 on a random Tuesday as often as he once did, but he remains the ultimate offensive weapon. His gravity bends defenses, his leadership stabilizes the locker room, and his competitive fire is as bright as ever. Every year the Warriors waste without giving him the right supporting cast is a year they cannot get back. That urgency is what makes the front office's patience with Kuminga feel so dangerous. They cannot let loyalty to potential cloud their judgment when the present is still about winning championships. It is not that Kuminga does not have value. It is that his value is highest right now, either as a building block or as a trade chip. Waiting too long risks letting that value slip away. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Whispers are circulating around the NBA world as news broke that Golden State Warriors superstar Stephen Curry reportedly suffered an injury during a team practice this week. While details remain scarce and the Warriors' medical staff has yet to release an official statement, sources close to the team hint that the shooting guard may have experienced a setback that could impact the early part of the season. The timing could not be worse for Golden State, who are still riding high on expectations after a strong previous campaign and the excitement surrounding their championship hopes. Insiders suggest that Curry was participating in a routine shooting drill when he suddenly felt discomfort, prompting him to leave the floor. The incident has set off a wave of speculation among fans and analysts alike, with many questioning whether this could be a minor scare or something more serious. Curry, known for his resilience and dedication, has faced injuries before but has always managed to return stronger, leading some to hope that this will follow the same pattern. Nonetheless, the mere possibility of him missing games has fueled a whirlwind of discussion across social media, sports forums, and news outlets, all eager to decipher what this could mean for the Warriors lineup. Veteran teammates and coaching staff were reportedly quick to support Curry, with the atmosphere in the locker room described as tense but hopeful. Sources indicate that team doctors are conducting further evaluations to determine the exact nature of the injury. Meanwhile, fans are holding their breath, as Curry's presence on the court is widely regarded as pivotal not just for scoring, but for the team's overall strategy and morale. Rumors are now circulating about potential temporary lineup adjustments, as Golden State could be forced to rely more heavily on younger players if Curry is sidelined. Even without official confirmation, the NBA rumor mill is in full swing. Analysts are debating the possible consequences for the Warriors' upcoming schedule, with some suggesting the injury could be a minor blip, while others warn that any absence of Curry could shift the balance of power in the Western Conference. As the story develops, the league and fans alike remain glued to any updates, eager to see how one of the game's most electrifying stars will navigate yet another challenge. For now, the basketball world waits in suspense, hoping that Stephen Curry's legendary resilience shines through once again. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.